This is Coach Ash from Aussie Prospects. We've got a really special treat for you guys tonight, all the way from Sarasota in Florida. We've got Big Marshall Kearing. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good, mate. Thanks for taking some time out of your busy schedule to talk to us, and we're really excited to see your face again.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Marsh, we've got a couple of questions we want to ask you and get your thoughts on. Obviously, we're celebrating NAIDOC week here in Australia, and you're a young Indigenous man from Pinjarra in Western Australia. Can you just tell us a little bit about your family connection to the area and what it was like growing up in Pinjarra?
Our heritage pretty much goes all the way back to when the Pinjarra tribe was there. So I'm a descendant of that tribe, and that's kind of why, I feel a strong connection to that area, and just why I love being in Pinjarra, in that town. So that's where my grandma grew up. So it just makes it even more significant because that's where she's from. And then and then my grandpa's buried there in the cemetery. So it's just family ties, I guess, back to that place. So
yeah, it sounds like it's got a lot of significance for you, and obviously with the family heritage there, that's pretty special, mate. So I suppose my next question then is really, as a boy growing up there in Pinjarra, whether you had any particular people in your life, family or otherwise, that you particularly looked up to or that inspired you?
Yeah, since there's not a lot of people, to motivate you in a small town, or like anyone you can really look up to, it's a bit hard to find someone. So, you just, whoever you're around or whoever you just see, doing things that no one else does, so that's who you kind of look to. And for that was that's my brother. He kind of just led the way for me in basketball, and like influenced me to go down this track kind of. So
I was just going to ask you to clarify that, Marsh, because you do have two brothers.
Aaron, my brother Aaron.
And one plays basketball, and one probably not quite so talented at basketball, but he's a pretty good footy player, I take it.
Yeah, he's good at footy,
So tell us about your family. You've obviously got two brothers, and you've got a sister.
Yeah.
And you're saying that that Aaron, your older brother, was a significant inspiration for you. What was it like, growing up, playing against him, and probably a few battles, I'd say, between the two of you? Who kind of got the better of those matchups, Marsh?
I didn't get the chance to play like against him in a real game, but when we played one-on-one and stuff like that, he would win most of the time just because he's the older brother. So
always had to change a bit now, though, Marsh. Are you saying that that's past history now, or what?
Yeah, right now I could wipe the floor with him probably. Yeah. But Jade and my other brother would be there too, so and we would just play all on all, and those two were the ones that would beat me. So now it's just a different story.
Well, I'm sure that those brotherhood battles down in the local courts would have been part of shaping you as a player.
Yeah.
Probably, a few hard lessons there, I'd say, along the way.
Yeah.
As we were talking about, and Aaron, if you're listening, all love to you, mate. And we know that you're also very talented player yourself. And, I'm sure that Marsh appreciates all of those battles that you guys had along the way. As we were talking about at the beginning of the conversation, we're celebrating NAIDOC week here in Australia this week. So for those who don't know much about NAIDOC week and what that means, obviously you're living in the United States, so there'd be a lot of people out there that would be, what is this about?
Yeah.
For those people, can you share a little bit about the significance of what that represents for you, and what it means to you?
It's just, for me, it's kind of just a celebration of Aboriginal people and the culture. Just a week where we can just show our culture and the heritage and all that. Just the people and what their culture is like, pretty much. So it's just a week of celebrating that and what they do, and showing it to others, so they can understand and they know about it, and they kind of learn something from it, and through what we do. So like dances and stuff like that. That's kind of what it means to me, just being able to show people my culture and how much I love it. And so that's kind of what what I like to do.
So obviously you've been living in the United States now for 2 years, and obviously the American culture is very different from the Aboriginal culture. Have you had any opportunities to, I suppose, share some of your culture with your fellow teammates or friends from the university?
Yeah, I was able to share a bit of it with my coach, actually, he's done some research about the culture and stuff, and I told him some stuff about it, and just he's gotten interested in it, about it, and so just he's got interested in about it because of me. I told him some things about the culture and the dances and stuff. My teammates, not so much, but I do have one who's from Australia, but he didn't know too much about Aboriginal culture, so I let him in a little bit about it. And then my signing day, no one knew what the flag meant. So my coach was able to get a Aboriginal flag, and no one knew what flag that was. So I kind of had to tell him what it was, about the flag and what it represents. So I told him the black represents the people, the yellow represents the land, and the yellow represents the sun, and the red represents the land. So
I'm glad you got that sorted out in the end, Marsh, because you probably then wouldn't be a great ambassador for the Aboriginal culture in the
I
States.
wouldn't.
Can't get the flag right, huh?
Yeah, I was just talking about it with my mum last night. So
shout out to Eleanor. I hope you're doing well, and she's a pretty amazing Aboriginal woman.
yeah,
She'd have to be raising a a mob like you guys. So you and I have had a couple of conversations about this along the way throughout your journey, and just looking back at some of the Australian basketball players who have gone over and played in the States. There's not many Indigenous guys that have gone and done it. Can you just shed a bit of light on when this became something that you really wanted to do and was like a dream or a goal for you, and what was required for you to make that happen?
Yeah, as you mentioned, there's not many people, not many Indigenous players over here from Australia, so it's kind of hard to see yourself coming here and doing, college or just coming here for anything kind of like that. But I kind of wanted to do it when we were on tour. The first time we were on tour, we were at, I forgot what it was.
Dominguez Hills, I think it was.
Yeah.
Cal State Dominguez Hills. Yeah.
Yeah, we were there on a tour and we were just walking around with one of the coaches, asking questions, and he was just showing us around the campus. And that's kind of when I decided, in my head that I wanted to go. I remember telling you that I wanted to do college. That's when I decided. So, that was kind of a goal of mine to come here and play college.
And so once you made that decision in your mind, Marsh, that that was something that from a serious perspective, it was like, I want to do this.
Yeah.
Like, what was required from that point? Like, when you made that choice, what were some of the things you had to do to kind of work your way there? And like, that doesn't just necessarily happen. You don't just make that decision and then it just happens. But so what were some of the things that you had to do to achieve that, Marsh?
A lot of training, a lot of early mornings with you.
Yeah,
just getting ready to put myself in a good position to be recruited, and not only be recruited but be an option, I guess, when you play, so you can have a good college career. So just training and getting prepared for that that area. That situation, like, it's a whole different. It's completely different from being a high school student athlete to being a college student athlete. There's more required of you, or just more responsibility when you're in college, to maintain that level of skill, or just maintain that level of game the way you play. So
sure.
That's what we did. We were just getting ready to being able to maintain that.
And what about, you've mentioned, obviously there's a lot of training involved, and a lot of early mornings and sacrifices, I'm sure, that you make to do that. But what about like the academic side of things, or just on a personal level?
Yeah. The academics is a big one. That's the one thing that they mainly look at when recruiting, because you're not just an athlete, you're a student athlete. So, student has to come first. Your academics have to come first. That's what they speak about a lot, because if you can't do your thing in class and like have good grades, then you can't even play. So, that's why it's big on that. And so you have to have good grades, I guess, to just get in, and even get noticed, because if you have high grades, you get even better chance to be recruited, not just off of your skills. So that's a massive help on the school as well. So
and I think for me, obviously, working with you closely and seeing you, I suppose, progress on that journey. I have a bit of an inside knowledge on some of what was required, and saw the work that you put in. But one of the things that I was conscious of at the time when you did commit to saying, this is something I want to do, and where were you at academically at that point in time? I know that you were in, I think you would have been in like year 11 or something at high school at the time.
Yeah.
And you talked about the work that you put in on the court, but I'm also aware of the work that you put in off the court. So where were you at academically at that point in time, and did you have to make any shifts or changes there?
Yeah, when we I didn't know too much about like academics at that point when it comes to college or what was required. So um, when when you kind of told me about it, what I needed to do to make a change, like with my grades, because I was struggling, I had to just knuckle down on my grades a lot more and just make sure I could have a fighting chance at even just going to junior college. So that was kind of the option for me because of my grades. And I wish I could have started the journey earlier, but that's where I was at. And since my grades were where they were at, I kind of had to rely on the last year and a half of high school to make sure my grades were at a good optional spot, and then being ready to do the SAT in year 12 was something that I had to look at and make sure I had a good enough grade there. So it kind of looks like I improved over the last year of my last year of high school. So that's where I kind of went to.
Yeah. And I think it's important that I suppose in just understanding a bit of your journey, that there was a lot of work put in on the court. There was a lot of work put in the classroom and even on the weekends, tutoring and things like that. So it's something I witnessed. The work that you put in. So and you put yourself in a really strong position, and obviously the rest is history. And you've now completed 2 years at the State College of Florida. So congratulations there, Marsh. You should be really proud. Which is also part of why I wanted to share some of that story with everyone more broadly. But you grew up playing for the Mandurah Magic in Wobble. Shooting hoops down at the local gym down in Pinjarra. And you represented WA country at the Australian Junior Championships. How do you feel like those experiences contributed to where you're at today?
Yeah, Wobble kind of just set me up to being able to play at the next level, because I just stayed in Pinjarra and would play local basketball there. So Mandurah kind of set me up for being at the next level, and then playing for WA country set me up for another level to play against guys that are twice the size of me, maybe, and then guys that are smarter than me, and then guys that are more athletic. So it's kind of just a progression with those. And Wobble taught me not to settle for that area, or settle just being in WA and playing against the same few guys that I would who I grew up playing against. That kind of just let me know that I didn't want to stay in that same spot. So it's kind of what it did for me. Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool, Marsh. And I suppose now looking forward, you've had 2 really good years at State College of Florida, and you've signed with the Division One University of South Alabama, which is it's big time. Congratulations. And you know, you were really heavily recruited at the Division One level across the country. What was it about South that kind of you know, drew you to choose them and sign with them?
Yeah. So there's a few things that kind of drew me to that place, and you know why I made my decision to go there. You know, a big thing for me is the people, so like the coaches and stuff, and what they're like. So you know, just being in an area where people are not going to settle for just anything, like, or just like failure, or just be complacent with where they're at. And you know, so speaking to the coaches and just what they're about, I loved what they're about. And so they have a little slogan called "Burn the Boats." And so what that means is, you know, the way the head coach explained it to me was, imagine we're just arriving on a new island, and you know, we want to start up a life here, whatever, and so we burn the boat, you know. So there's no way back. The only way to go is forward, and you know, that's a good that's a good slogan. So yeah, it's kind of what I'm getting myself into, you know.
No turning back. You're fully committed. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do remember having that explained to me by one of the assistant coaches, and I thought it was a really good terminology, and I can see why that appeals to you, Marsh. So we're excited, obviously, to see you play there, and congratulations on a massive achievement signing with them. I suppose one of the other things I was keen to ask you is this weekend, Aussie Prospects is partnering with Pinjarra Sports, who obviously do a lot of work with young Indigenous athletes and others. And we're doing a session, one for the boys and one for the girls, just purely targeted at Indigenous athletes, and talking to them about the USA pathway. And as we said before, you know, there's not actually a lot of Indigenous athletes who have gone and done what you're doing. So do you have any advice or anything you'd like to pass on to those young guys and girls?
It's kind of tough to think about. Just be ready to sacrifice, you know, your sacrifice being away from your family, sacrifice being away from your land, your friends. You know, if you're willing to come here, it's just mostly sacrifice, being away from everyone back home, and you know, the people you love and your culture. So it's just sacrifice, pretty much, is what is
the main message.
The main message. Just be prepared to sacrifice.
So within that sacrifice, Marsh, do you feel like it's worth it? Do you feel like there's any benefit to doing that, or any value in doing that?
Totally. There's a lot of value into doing it. You know, you not only grow as a player, or like as a student, you grow as a person. You know, you learn to be independent and strong without your family, who you've known, so you've been around, so, and you had the chance to expand your friends, so, and meet new people. And then on the basketball side, you just, you're leveling up your game, so, you're just getting better and better, and I'm sure people love to get better and better. And, so, and then on the education side, because my family is big on it, you get a higher education, and that can lead you other places as well. So that's really good as well.
That's really good. That's really good to hear, Marsh. And I'm glad it's not just all sacrifice and no fun. I'm sure that you're enjoying your experience as well. So I was going to say as well, as far as being away from home, there's probably worse places to be than on the beach in Florida, mate. So you landed in an okay spot, I think.
Yeah, I did.
And it's nice to also hear that you haven't kind of tried to adopt the American accent or anything. So well done there as well. That's really good insight, Marsh, and I really appreciate you, I suppose, being open and sharing some of that, because some of that's personal as well. It's not always just easy to kind of put that out there. So I do thank you for your honesty and for sharing openly with us. Before we wrap up the interview, we've got a nice little rapid fire quiz for you at the end of this session here. So we want to ask you 10 questions, Marsh, and you get 1 second to answer.
Oh, what?
Right?
Okay.
You win.
All right, let's go.
All right, 10 questions. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
1 second to answer.
Okay.
Okay, question 1. MJ or LeBron?
MJ.
Yes, correct. Question 2. Phoenix or Milwaukee?
Milwaukee.
Question 3. Dunks or blocks?
Blocks.
Ooh, defense first. I like that. Question 4. Morning person or night owl?
Not.
Definitely night owl. Question 5. IHOP or Applebee's?
Applebee's.
Oof. Question 6. Push-ups or sit-ups?
Sit-ups.
Well, it probably doesn't show, Marsh. Question 7. This is a big test. Cadbury's or Hershey's?
Hershey's.
Oh, that hurts. Question 8. Vegemite or Nutella?
Vegemite.
Yes. Question 9. I don't know what made me think of this. Sharing a bed with Ben Johnson or Jasper Gibson?
Ben Johnson.
Question 10, the one that everyone's waiting to hear. Eagles or Dockers?
Eagles. All the way.
Eagles all the way. Now, that's actually 10 questions, but I do actually have one bonus question, Marsh.
All right.
And you get extra points if you get this one right.
Okay.
Question 11, the bonus question. 1-on-1, first to 5, Ash McCormick or Maddie Foster?
Ash McCormick.
Oh, yes. Correct answer. Although I'm sure Maddie will disagree.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for your time, Marsh, and it's really good to see your face, and thank you for getting up nice and early, because it is early in the morning over there in Florida. So thank you for setting your alarm and getting up, being the night owl that you are. And we wish you all the best with your move to South Alabama later this week, and Also wanted to say happy NAIDOC week and thank you for sharing a little bit with us, and we really appreciate it.
No worries. I loved it.
Thanks very much.
See ya.